Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Mount and Blade Bannerlord and we're going to be doing the best throwing weapons in the game. And so since they kind of all cover the same type of category, even though, you know, for different playstyles they may be slightly unique, I will be kind of covering javelins, throwing axes, and throwing knives all in the same video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the top 10 best overall, and then I will also say which one's the best. So if you want to focus on throwing knives, for example, because just generally speaking they're not the best out of the throwing weapons, they are decidedly the worst, I'll still show you which is the best throwing knife to look for. Same thing goes for axes and javelins. Ooh, mystery. Which one's going to be the best? I'll give you a hint. Javelins. They're better than both of the other two. But with all that in mind, let's just dive on in and start off with number 10 for the total ranking. And so at number 10 for best throwing weapons in the game, we have the HIGHLAND throwing axe. And now there are two different varieties of HIGHLAND throwing axe. This one will be the one with slightly higher damage. So this one has 74 for damage. The other variety of HIGHLAND throwing axe has 70 for damage. That being said, the other variety is the second best as far as throwing axes go in the game. But anyway, so at number 10 we have HIGHLAND throwing axes. If you want to find these, your best place to look for them is in the Battanian territory, and then after that it's going to be Vlandia and Sturgia, especially late game. But if you want to find it reliably, I find them pretty frequently in Battania. So as far as stats on this are concerned, well, for one thing, you can use it one-handed, so you can use them as a melee weapon. I think a lot of people forget that. And you can also throw them. They have a weight of 2.2, they're a tier 4 weapon, they have a weapon length of 41, damage of 74, which is a cutting damage, missile speed of 27, so that's the speed at which they travel, accuracy of 93, which is pretty good, and the stack amount is 3, so you only carry 3 of these. At number 9, we've got these nice fun-looking boys, the fish harpoon. So these ones can be used one-handed, so you can use them as like short little spears, or you can throw them, which is the main way that I like to use them. For stats, they have a weight of 3.9 kilograms, they're a tier 1 weapon, they have a weapon length of 68, which does play a part when you're using them as a melee weapon, damage of 67, missile speed of 29, accuracy of 92, and you carry 4 of these by default per cluster. So if you want to do nothing but them, you could carry up to 16 of them without any special perks that give you extra ammo. So yeah, the fish harpoon is the number 9 spot for the best throwing weapons overall. At number 8 for throwing weapons, we have the jagged javelin, which you can see here on the back. I quite like the way these ones look. I should have clarified. I keep forgetting to say where you can find things. The fish harpoon, you can kind of find them anywhere, but they're most common up in the Sturgian territory, and then after that, Vlandian territory. As far as the jagged javelins, which we've got here, these ones you can kind of find all over the place, but I find them most frequently in Azurai territory and then Battanian and Sturgian territory. So the jagged javelin can be used one-handed or thrown. It has a weight of 3.6 kilograms. It is a tier 2 weapon with a weapon length of 82. It has a damage of 70, a missile speed of 29, an accuracy of 92, and you carry 4 of these by default. So that is the jagged javelin at number 8. Next up at number 7, we've got a fun-looking one, the HORSEMAN javelin. And now these ones I find most commonly in the Imperial territory, so the Empire, but sometimes you'll also find them over in the Khuzait territory and the Azurai territory. So they can kind of exist in all of those areas. As far as the stats on this, or abilities and stuff, it can be used as a throwing weapon or one-handed. It has a weight of 5.6. It is a tier 2 weapon, weapon length of 67, so a little bit shorter if you're using it as a spear, damage of 89, so nice and high there, missile speed of 28, accuracy of 92, and this is the first one that starts with the default of 5 per clutch. So if you want to fill your whole inventory with horse javelins, you can carry up to 20 of these. So nice ammunition bonus there. So the Horseman javelin takes the number 7 spot. Next up at number 6, we have the Lowland javelin, and I really like the way these ones look, and I also like that they're pretty easy to find. So typically I find these in certain parts of Landia, most of the Empire, and the Azurai territory the most. Like I said, you can kind of find them anywhere, but that's where I typically find the most Lowland javelins. These ones can be thrown or used one-handed. They have a weight of 6 kilograms, a weapon tier 3. They have a weapon length of 93, so they're a little bit better as a spear. A damage of 96, so nice and high there. Missile speed of 28, accuracy of 92, and again you get 5 in the stack. So the Lowland javelin is an excellent weapon that I quite like, and it takes the number 6 spot. Then next up at number 5, we've got one that looks very similar, the Woodland javelin. And now these ones, most common you can find in the Battanian territory, but I've also found them in Sturgia and Vlandia. They can be thrown or used one-handed. They have a weight of 5.4 kilograms. They are a tier 3 weapon. They are 89 for the weapon length, have a 96 for pierce on the damage, 29 missile speed, 92 accuracy, and they stack as 5 by default. So again, excellent weapon, just a slight step up over the Lowland javelin. At number 4, we've got the Broad Blade javelin. These ones can be thrown or used one-handed. They have a weight of 5.6 kilograms. They're a tier 4 weapon with 87 for the weapon length, 101 for the damage, 28 for the missile speed, 92 for the accuracy, and 5 for the stack amount. These ones can be found kind of all over the place, but I mostly find them in Vlandia and Britannia, and then most of the Western Empire, kind of that clutch there. But I've also found them down in the Azerite territory and up in the Sturgian territory. So yeah, the broad-bladed javelins, quite a good weapon, and they take the number 4 spot overall. At number 3, we've got the harpoon, and now these ones are going to be by far the most common to find up in the Sturgian territory, but I've seen them elsewhere. But like I said, if you want to look for them, I definitely recommend checking Sturgia. As far as the stats on the harpoon, they can be used as a throwing weapon and one-handed. They're really short, so the one-handed use of them is dubious, but you can do it. They have a weight of 6.8 kilograms. They're a tier 3 weapon. They have a weapon length of 83, damage of 113, so nice high damage, missile speed of 28, accuracy of 92, and again, they stack by default at 5. So I like the harpoons. I find them to be an excellent weapon. They're pretty dang common, and like I said, the best place to find them is in Sturgia. Our runner-up at number 2 for throwing weapons is the hooked javelin, and appearance-wise, they just look a lot like the harpoon. So these ones can be thrown or used one-handed. They have a weight of 7.1 kilograms. They're a tier 4 weapon with a weapon length of 85. The damage is 117. Missile speed is 28. Accuracy is 92, and they stack at 5 by default. So again, excellent weapon. You can find them pretty commonly, kind of in your western section again, so Sturgia, Britannia, and Vlandia, but I've also seen them in the Empire and out east and down to the south to much, much lesser extents. The good thing about throwing weapons is you can kind of find them all over the map, so that's one of the benefits of specializing in throwing. So yeah, the hooked javelin is the runner-up at number 2. And finally, at number 1, we have what pretty much everybody who's ever played the game knows is the best throwing weapon in the game, the JEREED. These ones are excellent throwing weapons. For one thing, you can find them most commonly in the Empire and in the Azerite territory, so if you're looking for the JEREEDs, that's where I recommend looking, because you can find them pretty easily by defeating armies of Azerite soldiers or Imperial soldiers. But they are excellent weapons. They can be thrown or used one-handed. They have a weight of 6.0. They're a tier 6 throwing weapon. They have a weapon length of 113, so they actually make a pretty good one-handed spear to use with like a shield. They have a damage of 121, so super high there, missile speed of 28, accuracy of 92, and by default they stack at 5. So like I said, it's a huge difference. The hooked javelin, harpoon, and broadblade javelin are all very, very good throwing weapons. I like them a lot, but the JEREED is just leaps and bounds ahead of them. It's by far the best throwing weapon. So if you want to stack up to 4 different stacks of these on here and have 20 JEREEDs, you'll be very, very effective and able to kill at least 20 people as long as your aim is good. The only problem with throwing weapons, of course, is ammunition, because you don't start with a lot of ammunition. So I'm also going to show you some skills to help boost your ammunition if you decide to focus on throwing weapons. But outside of the top 10 overall, because I've now showed you the top 10 best throwing weapons overall in the game, I just want to talk about the best of each category. And so, as we already said, the best overall and the best javelin is the JEREED. So if you want that, like I said, check the Azerite territory and check the Empire. If you want to use throwing axes, the number 10 spot overall is also the number 1 best throwing axe, and that's the HIGHLAND throwing axes. I quite like using throwing axes. I think gameplay wise they're fun to use. And if you want to use these, the best place to check is Britannia. Next best place is Sturgia, because sometimes you'll find them there too. But if you really want to do throwing knives, the broad-bladed throwing knives are the best throwing knives in the game. They only stack to 3 by default, so you don't really get that many of them. They are the most accurate for any throwing weapon, so that's the advantage of throwing knives, but they're just not that effective. Their damage is pretty low. They're not great. They're not great weapons overall. But if you really want to do throwing knives, the broad-bladed throwing knives are the highest rated throwing knives in the game. And if you want to find them, you can kind of find them all over the place. In fact, I find fighting bandits and peasants will oftentimes net you throwing knives, but I find broad-bladed throwing knives in Vlandia and the Empire the most. So that is kind of it for all of it's both the top 10 ranking and then the best overall for each type of throwing weapon. Now, obviously on this playthrough, I have not focused on throwing at all because it's just not what this character's for, but if you want to focus on some perks that'll give you more ammo for throwing, then I'll show them to you now. So right here you can see at the level 75 for throwing, you have the well-prepared perk, which will give you +1 ammunition for throwing weapons. So if you want to really spec into throwing or just want to have more ammunition, this is a good perk for it. Another one is at level 125, you have the saddlebags perk, which allows you to start the battle, if you start the battle mounted, so on a horse, it'll give you +2 ammunition for throwing weapons, so that's another 2 that you'll get. Another one is at level 200, you have the perk resourceful, which gives you +2 ammunition for throwing weapons, so that's another great one to focus on. on. And then the last one is long reach, which doesn't give you any to start with, but it will allow you to pick up like throwing javelins while you're on your horse, so you can ride around and pick up either the ones that you've already thrown or that other people have thrown. So once you've run out of ammunition, you can keep scavenging with long reach to pick up more and more. So those perks are the ones that if you're going to focus on throwing, I like those ones, because the major disadvantage of using throwing weapons as your main ranged option, other than obviously the actual range of the weapon, is the fact that you start out with the least amount of ammo. And that actually concludes the video. So that is our top 10, and again, best per class. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope if you were looking to up your throwing weapon game that this helped you, but that's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.